You've seen the pictures, you've heard the stories. Hallstatt, Europe's most beautiful village, a place straight out of a fairy tale. But what if I told you there's another side to it? A few years ago, I came across a stunning Instagram post of Hallstatt, and from that moment, I knew I had to see this place for myself. Fast forward to my 4th day in Austria, and I finally made it. So just made it to the famous, ultra-famous Hallstatt town here in Austria. After the Disney movie Frozen was released in 2013, Hallstatt was said to be the inspiration for Arendelle. Tourism took off from then. Getting to Hallstatt is an experience in itself. From Salzburg, I took a train that goes through Austria's stunning alpine landscape. Every turn, every valley felt like a painting coming to life. The train ride is just awesome. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Hallstatt's train station isn't actually in Hallstatt. Instead, you step off the train into this tiny, almost forgotten station, and across the lake, you see it, the village, waiting like a hidden treasure. First impressions, a postcard come to life. Okay. And then a reality hits. The crowds are everywhere. Once at the lake, you will have to take a short ferry ride across the lake, which takes about 10 minutes and costs €7 per person. Even during the peak of winter, when the temperature is constantly below zero, the number of tourists visiting Hallstatt was staggering. There were tourists from all corners of the world, and even though it was surprising to find that many tourists in winter, it's also the most beautiful village in Europe, so I guess it only makes sense. If you're not among the first people in line for the ferry, you might have to wait for the next or the next ferry, which consumes your precious time to visit the village. Even though a ferry is big enough and can take several dozens of people in one go. Just get a space for yourself on the ferry to admire the village as the ferry approaches. And let me tell you, seeing Hallstatt emerge from the mist as the ferry glides across the lake is truly breathtaking. I must say that the village lives up to the otherworldly social media content that I have seen. I was in awe just looking at how scenic and peaceful the village felt while the ferry approached. From the steep mountain backdrop to the iconic church to the fairy tale sceneries, Hallstatt will definitely amaze anyone. Good thing is that the ferry allows you to take your luggage with you. But as soon as you step out of a ferry, you are reminded of overtourism. People are literally everywhere, in every corner of a village. This is all part of traveling to this village. If you thought you would find a quiet piece of Hallstatt just for yourself, forget about it, as it is known that Hallstatt gets even more visitors during the warmer months. And just some stats that I have found online, Hallstatt has about 1,000 permanent residents and receives over 10,000 visitors every day during peak season. Even though winter was not the peak season, it was still super crowded, and I can't imagine how it would be during summer. However, I do believe that tourism is economically important to this little remote village, but that said, a good balance should be found. Long before it was one of the most Instagrammable small towns in the world, Hallstatt was an important area dating back to the Bronze Age. In 1997, Hallstatt was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, primarily due to the Hallstatt culture that thrived here in the Bronze and Iron Ages. If you are not too bothered by mass tourism, smile and take a stroll across the village and soak in as much of this incredible place as possible. It is going to imprint memories of a lifetime in your head. So I'm just exploring Hallstatt as much as I can in one day. and I'm trying to find all the best viewpoints, so I will try to put them in this video so you can also have the most awesome view of Hallstatt when you come out here. I tried one of a few cafes around Hallstatt, and I must say that prices were reasonable for a touristic area and that the villagers were quite pleasant, which is contrary to some of the Google reviews that I had seen during my research. There is more to see around this village, such as the bone house where centuries-old skulls are stacked to save space in the cemetery, or visit the Hallstatt Museum to dive into its ancient history. An overnight stay is well worth it and might provide some quiet time away from tourists. However, just to discover the village, 3 to 4 hours is alright, and that is how much time I could afford in the village, as I needed to catch the next train to go all the way to Vienna, which is about 4 hours away. My conclusion about Hallstatt is that it is very much oriented towards day trippers, and that is what drives mass tourism. So is Hallstatt worth visiting? Absolutely. It is enchanting, it is iconic and undeniably charming. If I could do it again, I would stay overnight to see Hallstatt how it's meant to be seen, with a little bit more time to slow down and truly soak in the magic. If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel stories. Where should I explore next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below.